Hello there guys, I'm James Henson, this is my son Jack Henson. This video is an argument between which is better, Star Wars or Star Trek. My son will be representing Star Wars and I shall represent Star Trek. And we're going to find out which one is actually better, which is the great question we've tried to find out. It's not on the internet, it's not on the YouTube, so this is going to be a theoretical debate as to which is actually better, which is the better series, Star Trek or Star Wars. I shall let my son start first with his opening argument, and then I should counter-argue. Go for it.
Basically, this argument is going to be, in this pitched argument, we're going to have the USS Enterprise, the most iconic Star Trek ship ever, versus the plain old Imperial Star Destroyer that you see throughout the movies. We're going to contest firepower, speed, who would win in a straight fight, and all that lot. Personally, I would say a Star Destroyer is 100 times better than the Enterprise. The Enterprise also has a fame in that lot, but when you compare the actual stat line, a Star Destroyer is a mile long. A mile. And it has, along with it being a mile long, it has 72 extra little fighters, which obviously would be a big help in the fight. Top of that, a Star Destroyer is even referred to in the movies as being nearly unbreakable, and even C-3PO makes comments about how it's suicide to take on a Star Destroyer. In terms of size comparison, the USS Enterprise is only, I don't know, a few hundred metres long, if that, and it has no fighter support of its own. So just from that alone, the fighters would swarm over the Enterprise, combined with the firepower from the Star Destroyer, it wouldn't.
I'm going to intercede here because that is the vital question, right? So imagine a situation, you've got USS Enterprise head on against an Imperial cruiser, right? In size comparison, I admit the Imperial cruiser is bigger. But what it doesn't have is the USS Enterprise's actual open firepower. Because once those lasers fire out of that USS Enterprise, all the electronics on board that Galactic Empire cease to work. That's how they work effectively. They don't blow the ship to pieces, because that's against the Federation's ethos, which is that we should come in peace, not in war. But they effectively disable the opponent. In open space, effectively disabled, so that all the firepower that the Galactic Empire could fire against the Enterprise is useless, because the US Enterprise has basically made it a dead duck in space. That cannot be denied.
Right. You can say this all you want, but a Star Destroyer has shields which would prevent this kind of attack. It would literally, and don't forget, whilst you're trying to do this, you have to tangle with the fighter swarm, which would act as a distraction. With 72 fighters coming at this little Enterprise, I don't care how good the crew is, it's not going to stop the whole
US Enterprise has its own force field as well.
Yes.
So whatever little ships were sent against the Enterprise will be like floating around in a bubble trying to get into a plastic bag when it can't get in. There's just no way it can break through. The only thing that could get through to the US Enterprise is an open strike from the Imperial Galaxy at the cruiser. But if it lets down its defence shields to fire that weapon, the Enterprise would take its moment to knock it out. So again, Star Trek wins.
Right, no. You can say this, right? But here's one thing, right? What was the firepower-wise? A Star Destroyer has so many turbo lasers, there's so many missile systems. It would just obliterate. The Star Trek Enterprise is a scouting ship. Do you not remember that? Its task is to voyage out. It's not a warship, and that means it's not that heavily armoured. It only has a few hundred personnel, and don't forget, each Star Destroyer carries 10,000 stormtroopers. So even if this tiny ship could hold on, it could not beat a mile-long ship with that many firepower. Because the firepower just disabled the Enterprise, and then they would board it, and then hundreds of stormtroopers would swarm through.
As I've just said, to fire its major weapon, which is what the cruiser would have to do, do you admit that?
Yes.
To knock out the US Enterprise, right?
Yeah.
It would have to lower its defences to fire.
Yes.
Do you agree with that?
Yes.
If it does so, it's then vulnerable to a counter-strike. Agreed?
Well, agreed.
No,
but
but let's be theoretical here.
Right.
So, let's imagine this is our cruiser, and it's going to fire upon the Enterprise. To do so, it must disable its cloaking device, which allows it to fire, and its protective shield. At that moment, it is vulnerable. And let's be honest. Captain Kirk, in many other of the Star Trek series and films, uses that moment to launch his counter-strike. Remember the Wrath of Khan?
Yes, yes, oh yes.
Khan's got
yes,
him.
Yes.
Khan's got him. He thinks he's all finished and everything else.
Right.
But at the moment that Khan goes to strike, he has to let down his defences, and then the Enterprise strikes back and knocks him out.
Yes, I understand that. But
And he'd do the same with the Imperial cruiser. So there's no way that the little TIE fighters would be able to get inside.
Well, they would, because the TIE
No.
fighters have multiple classes. The bomber systems would
No.
definitely, yes, they would swarm over you. Your phasers and
A
that
force
all of that
field would
not
protect the Enterprise against any
yes,
local vicinity
shields,
attack.
Shields, after a while, would be destroyed. Just like if you're in a straight fight, shields decrease down over time as you take more hits.
But
Fighters would overrun the Enterprise.
Okay, let's be theoretical again then. Let's say that the Enterprise has now knocked out the main cruiser.
Yeah.
And what's left are independent TIE fighters,
Yes.
which, in honour of being part of the Empire, they would launch an all-out attack on the Enterprise.
Yeah, because there's Zealothy, yes.
Okay, right. So, it depends how weakened the shields are of the Enterprise to withstand that attack. Agree?
Yes, agree.
But they have Scotty and the dilithium crystals. You always know that right when it's absolutely vital that everything has to come out, that you know that Scotty will sort it out so that the Enterprise survives and retaliates any.
Right.
Do you not agree with that?
Yeah,
no, he agrees. Now look, there you are.
Look, no,
there you are.
You're going by plot convenience now.
We're saying that the best engineer in the known universe between Star Wars and Star Trek, undisputably, is Scotty.
Yes,
agreed?
I'll admit that, yes, but here's
and
the
that
one
when the
thing you have to
Enterprise seems to be finished, Scotty always finds a way of saving it.
That's called plot convenience, which is the main fault of the Empire in every situation. On paper, they should always win against every opponent.
Okay,
Don't forget, if you went by Empire, the entire Galactic Empire, which at its height had 25,000 Star Destroyers, versus the Federation's few hundred ships.
But we're saying,
but overrun.
In this scenario, it's 1-to-1.
Yes, in this scenario, yes, it's 1-to-1. But the Enterprise is a scout ship.
Let's not forget who are actually in charge of those ships. Okay,
right.
Let's pretend
Captain Kirk's got experience.
That in most situations, Darth Vader orders his subordinates to do his fighting for him. Is that agreed?
Yes, that's agreed.
Okay,
yes.
right. So let's presume that this Imperial cruiser is not being controlled by Darth Vader. It's being controlled by a normal, regular crew.
Yeah, an admiral. Yeah, all right. Say an admiral. Yeah.
Okay, right. What they don't have is James T. Kirk, the man who's defeated almost every civilization he's ever come up against. He always knows the right way to play any situation, which proves that in leadership terms, in pure open leadership, as in making the decisions that really matter, that, and again, I hope you heard that clear, he admits that the best captain in the known universe...
No, hang on, no, I'm not saying that.
So
what I'm saying is, in this scenario, we have a regular admiral or Imperial captain commanding a Star Destroyer with a full complement of fighters versus the USS Enterprise led by the famous
If you were going into battle, let's pretend, right, let's go off at the slight tangent, right?
Yeah.
Imagine you're in charge of the Enterprise, okay, and you're coming up against what you know to be a very warlike civilization.
Yeah.
Okay, right, okay. So, what would you rather be in? What would you rather be in, right? An Imperial cruiser, which let's face it, right, is supermassive.
Yeah.
Right? And
a mile long.
Right. And very imposing, agreed?
Yeah.
The USS Enterprise is designed to look non-threatening.
Yes.
Oh, so again, he agrees with what I'm saying. So
yes, I would rather be in a Star Destroyer because of the size, the safety it can provide, and it is one of the biggest and most powerful ships in the Star Wars universe. It is not going to fear anything. Its symbol was terror and fear. They used them as propaganda weapons to keep systems in line.
Okay.
Star Destroyers are imposing and they are unbreakable.
I'm asking you this, alright, okay. Do you remember when the Star Wars fleet, they literally surrounded the planet, didn't they?
Hoth, yeah?
Was it? Yeah, I'm sure it was Hoth, and the people on board Hoth who've been defeated in battle, in an open battle, on the ground in Battle of Hoth.
The Empire is unbreakable. Its numbers would just overwhelm any enemy.
Okay, right. But the spaceships somehow managed to get past these wonderful super duper Imperial cruisers that are unstoppable. That nothing.
They had a macro cannon.
Hang on. Now listen. See, again, he's just admitted. Well, actually, the Rebel Alliance had a macro cannon, which made their fleet run around in space and lose all power
temporarily.
Now he agrees with that, right?
Yes.
In Star Trek, and he doesn't like to admit this, but in Star Trek, that is the very weapon that when those phasers leave the Enterprise, knocks out and disables large opposing Federation Romulan ships. The point I'm saying is that you've just freely admitted, and he has done on camera, that these Imperial cruisers are not unbeatable, are they?
No, right.
No. There's no.
But here's the thing. The Rebel. Right, okay, here's an example. Here's an example of firepower fight. Right, listen.
Yeah.
You know the recent Rogue One film, yes?
Rogue One, yeah.
Spoilers, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
As the rebels have attacked this planet, Scarif, yeah, blah blah blah. They've got the plans out, right, and they get into the fleet. They're all leaving, yeah. They've all done it. They've saved it. They've done it. They've said it. They've got plans out. They're going away. Suddenly, one Imperial Star Destroyer comes out of hyperspace and blows up half the Rebel fleet because its firepower is so immense. It's unbreakable. That massive Rebel ship taken down in mere seconds. Half Rebel fleet destroyed because of one Star Destroyer.
Yeah, listen. Yeah, but the point I'm saying is, he just freely admitted just a couple of minutes ago that a macro cannon fired from an incredibly small ship compared to this mile-long super cruiser. Very small. It only holds about looks like a couple of hundred people. Massive. That's topped out.
Yeah.
It's a very small vehicle up against a mile-long super cruiser. And guess what?
What?
It just floats around in space because it's dead. It can't fight. It can't fly. It can't send any of its fighters anywhere because all the electronics are completely wiped out. The point I'm saying is Imperial cruisers are therefore very vulnerable. Okay?
And that is why, there is always, unless in certain scenarios, more than one. Darth Vader's fleet, Death Squadron, had 6 Star Destroyers.
So, instead of this going on forever, let's put it in perspective. Okay, let's look at leadership. Now, that in most battles, it's the leadership that usually decides. We look at Alexander, possibly the greatest.
Fair play season.
We would say that Alexander was probably the greatest. But in space terms, it has to be James T. Kirk. I mean, he's fought on so many civilizations. He's met empires and he's negotiated everything else.
I will admit that. So 9 times out of 10,
in leadership terms,
political officers. They're only there for
we would agree in any given situation that James T. Kirk would make the right decision, whatever decision.
That's fair play because of plot convenience.
Okay.
Yeah, fair
no, but okay. So let's agree. So in terms of leadership,
9 times out of 10, Imperial officers are blunderous.
In terms of
aristocratic snobs.
In terms of support crew, let's have a look and see what Star Wars has compared to what Star Trek.
There are 30,000 crew members per Star Destroyer, along with a complement of 10,000 stormtroopers.
Okay.
That's a crew of 40,000 men.
Yeah, listen. What we're saying is, at the top of this Imperial fleet is Darth Vader, possibly the scariest villain in movie history, especially when you were young. But here's the reality of it: without Vader being in direct charge of any of the starships, right, they are next to useless without him. Because he has the so-called Force. But none of the other people in the Galactic Empire, apart from the Emperor himself, can use the Force. Okay? So let's get that in perspective.
Fair point.
What they're up against is, they're up against Jedi Knights that are all mastered in the art of the Force. And of course, that's used to full effect in the film. Right? So, in terms of manpower, although physically, in terms of numbers, the Galactic Empire is huge.
Absolutely, 25,000 Star Destroyers compared to the Federation's few hundred ships.
As Yoda says himself, that's nothing compared to the power of the Force. Do you not agree with that?
Convenience.
No.
Change the word Force.
Listen.
Convenience.
Okay, so Jedi Knights can use the Force
Yes, that's
as active demonstrated,
yes.
and the Imperial Galaxy
Yes.
is wiped out.
But
because they
Star
can't-
Trek doesn't have the Force.
They don't have the Force. No, because they don't need it.
Oh, right, yeah, right. Just so you know, right.
The Force,
Right.
the Force in Star Wars, right, was a theoretical thing, Bob, which may well turn out to be true in the long term because we don't really know what's in space. But what I'm trying to say is that in terms of manpower, however many manpower you have, if you've got so-called weak minds, which are susceptible to a certain other power, okay, then those numbers are null and void. Because the Jedi Knights in Star Wars have the power to control their thoughts, their actions.
Yeah, well, saying the numbers game is a bit odd because if you look at history, 9 times out of 10, numbers win. Right? You look at World War II, for example, the German invasion of the Eastern Front. Though the German tactics-wise and their troops were better, the Russians had so many men, it didn't matter. They just overrun.
And winter.
Yeah, and the winter. Okay, that's a valid point. But they still overrun the Germans in the long run. This is the same principle here. It doesn't matter if individual troops are better than some Empire soldiers. The numbers game will wear down through attrition. It will be a war of attrition, and the Empire plays perfectly as that because of their available manpower.
Yeah, but what Jack fails to understand, right, is that in Star Wars, and I've just realised this comes to the crux of the matter, which is the most powerful. The whole of the Star Wars saga. The whole of the Star Wars saga takes place inside one galaxy. Which, let's face it, is huge. I mean, in our galaxy, it's 200 billion stars. But the Star Trek Federation of Planets, as its official title is called, is not just one area of space, not just one galaxy of space. It's all of space.
Right, okay.
And the USS Enterprise is able to explore the outer reaches of the unknown universe. Right? So the universe makes one galaxy look insignificant. That's how big the universe is. So that gives you some idea of how big Star Trek Federation must be in reality for that to make any logical sense.
State, multiple times, it only has a few hundred, maybe a few thousand at most. The Empire is a mass-producing war machine. It will always outnumber its opponents, and it will always outload
its opponents. Yes, agreed.
Yes.
Inside the galaxy that it controls. Right.
But the Federation
however, even in Star Wars, which he's just told you how powerful the Empire is. Okay, fine.
Yeah, they are, all right.
But they always end up losing.
Because of plot convenience.
No!
No.
They do! No matter how many. Look at the Clone Wars. They had millions and millions and millions of robots. And they still lost to bloody things that go bleh. Like that win. Do you not agree with that?
Right.
So, and also they lost to a little green man. Literally a little green man. Get it? Like Yoda. Was about 2 foot nothing. Looks like a bunny rabbit with large pointy ears.
Yeah.
Can take on a whole army and just wipe the floor with them. How's that possible? So what we're trying to say?
Convenient.
What we're trying to say is the Empire, no matter how big it tries to get, is always outgunned.
Not
always.
Really. No,
always ends up losing.
No, it ends up losing because of plot convenience.
No, because if they ever win, that would be the end, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
So in that scenario, the Star Trek people realise that you can't always win every situation. So that's why the Enterprise is always managed to survive. Whereas in Star Wars, it has to be, for plot convenience, as my son correctly says, that the Empire, no matter how powerful it gets, always ends up losing. That cannot be denied. So what we're trying to say is, the bigger the Empire, think of the Roman Empire, I mean that was huge, but it got whittled away from people within it. Small bands of people uprose, and exactly the same in Star Wars. I'm sorry, but that's the fact. So no matter how big the Empire gets, or how many super destroyers it builds, or Death Stars, which can use to destroy planets. It is nothing, because a small band of people can defeat them every time. So if the Empire's all powerful, and Emperor Palpatine's all powerful, why doesn't he know that Princess Leia is the major threat? Why don't they know that Mark Hamill is the son of Anakin Skywalker? So how can they call themselves...
They do know. They do know.
No, but they don't. No, he only
told him
he only realises himself.
You have a son.
He only realises himself too late. But he's got Princess Leia in his grasp. He's got Princess Leia right by the balls. Well, figuratively speaking. And she is, if I'm not wrong, the daughter of Anakin Skywalker, correct?
Yes.
And he doesn't know that she's his daughter, and yet he somehow knows that Mark Hamill, playing Luke Skywalker, is his son.
Plot convenient, right?
Hang on.
Right, listen.
Hang on.
No, the theory of
the
whole thing of this video is whether or not the Enterprise could beat a Star Destroyer.
So we've just proved.
And I'm saying no.
We've just proved that the U.S. Enterprise never loses a battle.
It did. It lost in the new one.
It loses. No, listen. It may lose the battle, but it always wins the war. Even when that ship in the last film had to be grounded because it was beyond salvage, the captain, Kirk, brilliant, knew that there were things on board the Enterprise that would still work, and the ship still flew. So the ship was not completely destroyed.
They didn't. They used another ship.
Yeah, I know that, but it could fly and had bits in it that could
Listen.
So
you're saying this is if it was a movie, right? You're saying if this was a movie in cinemas, then yes, the Empire would lose. But in a real fight, in a real fight.
No, that's all that needs to be said.
If it's in real life,
I think that is an omission. He's just said it. That in a real one-to-one fight,
in the cinema,
I give you my son Jack Henderson. Wave to the camera, please. Admit defeat. I am James Henderson, and I think we just pwned him. See you later. Bye bye.